Welcome back to The Watch, and you might have noticed that we've reviewed Thor, Love and Thunder. Well, what's the quick takeaway?
Well, more like Thor, Grubs and Chunder.
Blunder, like Dumb and Dumber. It was awful. It was really bad. The more I think about it, it gets worse. I gave it a 3 in our review. I'm down to a 2 or 1 the more I think about it.
Yeah, I refused to rate it.
Oh, my goodness. I've even joined EFAP on the deep dive. And 6 hours... We only got halfway through. There are so many problems.
Yep.
And I'll be joining EFAP for the second half as we review the next part. It is crap.
Yep.
What's interesting, though, is a lot more people have been acknowledging that it's crap than I had expected. I thought, really, it's the president. Obi-Wan was astounding crap, and there was so much defense for it. There's far fewer defense for this film, even from the creators. There's an interview that we want to react to with you of Taika Waititi talking a bit about the film, and some of the takeaways that, yeah, he knows it's crap. It's like, I don't get it. He just didn't care. I think he got so high on his own farts. He thought he was untouchable, that everything he touches is gold, that he just didn't even try in this. And he just tried to Taika Waititi everything. I also heard that he actually didn't write Ragnarok, and he had more influence in this one. You can confirm me on that. I might be wrong, but that's what I've heard. And because this is everything is like Taika Waititi, basically.
Yeah.
Also, I've heard about the nature of filming Thor, Love and Thunder, that they just have a good old jolly time on the set, and they ad-lib, and they can spend a whole day shooting this scene, ad-libbing things, just having jokes, having a good time, and then they barely use anything of it. There's been tremendous waste in the production. This is a really expensive film, one of the more expensive Marvel solo films, not like a big Avengers one, but like for a solo film, it's one of the most expensive solo superhero films Marvel has made. And Waititi, Taika, whatever, has said that there's even a 4-hour cut of this film. They cut 2 hours, and they had so much bloat and over-filming and crap. And one of the astounding things and takeaways that we were talking about in EFAP is either they genuinely thought that the stuff that they put into the film was the best of it, which makes you think, holy crap, how bad must this other 2 hours be? Or they were that oblivious that they thought, we cannot let the film have any moment of somberness, seriousness, reflection, proper character growth, or anything like that. No, that's all bad. It has to be comedy, fun. And they would just screw the pooch on the editing. They might have had more decent stuff. But the overall structure and story of this film is crap.
Yeah, that's why I refused to rate it when I first watched it, because it was just garbage.
But that would give it a 0 out of 10 then.
Well, sure. Put whatever value you want to it that equals nothing, because I've just refused to rate it.
Yeah, to me that means you cared so little for it you wouldn't even care to rate it, which is a 0.
Yeah, sure. I just would, I'd prefer to not even acknowledge that I saw it.
It insulted your intelligence.
Not my intelligence, it insulted my human spirit.
It was a waste of time that 2 hours you wish you could get back. And
like Lord of the Rings, you watch that, you're full of hope, and you feel like you can do anything. This is just like, oh, garbage. That's right, I live in current year.
Yeah, it was awful, and it just makes Thor look like a biggest moron. You can check out our review for more detail on it, but let's see what the creators are saying and other people saying about this film.
Hey everyone, I'm Taika Waititi.
And I'm Tessa Thompson.
And we're here from Thor, Love and Thunder.
And we're going to break down a scene.
You surely did break down a lot of scenes.
I don't know. Part of me feels like he is half high. He's just...
Yeah. Well, what's the one thing all famous people have in common, Shad? All successful, rich and famous people, one thing they all have in common.
What's that?
Drug use.
Not everyone.
So that's why, if you want to be rich and famous, become a drug addict. Listen to me, kids.
From Notes on a Scene.
The atmosphere there has a darkness like no other. It's as if color fears to tread. It's unmistakable.
Well, then, if it's color we need, let's bring the rainbow.
They talking about the set of Black Panther?
It's just that scene is an example of just how bad it is.
Let's bring the rainbow. Huh. Wonder what they meant by that.
All right. And it also, they have no plan in this scene. So she doesn't know how to get there. Like, this is an example. They make the characters look so astoundingly dumb. They actually said that they need to find a way to get there. She obviously, because they portrayed her that this is supposed to be a smart character, she would know she doesn't need to get there, but she jumps in and goes, let's do it. And she flies off and then comes back and is like, oh yeah, I jumped the gun on that, didn't I? To force a joke. They'll make their characters look like idiots to force a joke,
cringe.
and a bad joke.
Bring the rainbows.
She didn't spin it.
I don't think he needed to spin it.
But it looked cool when he did it.
Yes,
And he did it all the way up until Taika Waititi took over.
Is there something?
I really wanted this film to be different to Thor Ragnarok in
That's your first mistake. I'm not saying make it thing for thing, but it's like different as in not good for Ragnarok. Good, I'll make it bad.
Did I?
Did you? Yeah, you did.
Thor Ragnarok was a good film, and I felt it was going to be very hard to top that. So where do you take a character like that?
Yeah.
Then we realised what you least expect from Thor, or what you least expect that you're going to want to see, is Thor going through a midlife crisis.
Like he did in Avengers?
But also, it's like, you're not going to expect to see this. You know why people would expect to see it? Because it could be really bad.
Yeah.
But I'm going to choose to do it as like, we need to make it so different to Ragnarok that will just make it awful. It's the impression I'm getting here.
Huh. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's kind of how most people reacted.
This scene is called Taste the Rainbow. We call these name scenes. This is in Norway.
Yes.
It's in a town hall. The Asgardians.
They so don't give a crap. You know they don't want to be there, but it's because this is the marketing push that they just, we have to do it, and they're putting it on. Like, you can see how disinterested she is. She's like, yeah okay.
At least give him a double shot of liquefied Prozac first.
They're space refugees. Something has happened, and they're trying to figure out how to fix it.
Exactly.
They're in the Shadow Realm.
How'd you know?
The atmosphere there has a darkness like no other.
Okay. Does that look real?
In that particular shot, no, actually.
So, you know why I'm laughing, though? They're crapping on it. So, it's come to light that Marvel treats its VFX artists basically like crap.
Yeah.
Does not give them the amount of time they need to make things work. And because there's a stupid crunch churning factory production thing that's happening, just churn out these pieces of crap. And then, once it comes out, the director is going to just crap on it. This guy that didn't get enough time to make it look real or anything like that is just going to, isn't this funny? It looks crap. What a dirtbag.
Look at that expression he's got.
Oh my goodness. Actually, that's one of those expressions where he's trying to hide pain. He hates it, that it looks so bad.
It's like someone's had a really awful birthday party.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Like, they just found out that, like, their dad died, and they have a birthday party. It's a surprise party. They just put on a face.
It doesn't really, right? When you look close.
Need to be more blue.
Well,
you know, but does he look real?
No, none of
Does
us.
she look-
She
So hang on. I wonder if if that might have been a bit more genuine, that he actually thought it looked fine, but seeing someone just stuff it and tell him that it's not.
It doesn't
Because he tries to justify it here.
You can see
really, right? When you look close.
Need to be more blue.
Well,
Maybe you need to be more blue. Well,
You know, but does he look real?
does he look real? You know?
no, none of
Does
us.
she look like-
She something looks very off about this. But no. He changes hues, don't you think?
Yeah.
Put in the light. Sometimes he's blue. Sometimes he's a little grayish.
The atmosphere there has a darkness like no other. It's as if color fears to tread. It's unmistakable.
Okay, this is one little funny thing that happens in this. See this shot? When I go, it's because it used to be when he would wake up. That was my reaction.
Wake up from what?
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, that, they're just showing that this scene was disjointed mess that they just sticky taped together, basically, at the end, if they got different reactions to crap.
But you just left it there randomly. But I kind of don't mind it. Yeah, look.
It's unmistakable.
Well, okay, so, like, yeah, that's stupid, but at the same time, if I was an editor, I wouldn't really care about that.
Yeah.
Like, I'd just say she hiccuped. I'd put in a hiccup sound effect there, actually, just to cover it.
You say that.
I never noticed it.
Oh, wow.
That's one thing you can't defend. Because just like I said,
The director should be looking through this with a fine-tooth comb,
Yeah.
and it's something like that. I didn't even notice it. That's like how the cup ends up in Game of Thrones, their coffee cup.
Well, it happened twice in Game of Thrones.
Oh, goodness. Sorry, were you going to say?
I was going to say, as a director, person making a film, you storyboard and you have a purpose for every single shot.
You should.
That's why I said if she looked like she hiccuped, I'd put a hiccup sound effect there to justify it.
But it goes into the way that this filming was done. It's already been, mentioned that they just film a lot of random crap and then just try and sew together a scene from these disjointed takes, which gives the pacing a almost sporadic, schizophrenic feel at times.
Not the schizos.
It's a very sometimes it's just an appropriate application.
No, the schizos. You know who was a schizo? Vincent Van Gogh.
Yeah,
You know who was a schizo?
I'm not digging at them. I'm just it's a useful word sometimes.
No, not schizo. Pick any other word. I'd say retarded. Maybe
Epileptic.
epileptic works. Neurotic would be for like the crazy feminist aspects of this. The taste the rainbow parts.
I'm looking at you.
Trust me, I did. It's
watch it again.
kind of funny and
It's great.
It doesn't make any sense, but I love it.
It's unmistakable.
Doesn't make any sense, but I love it. Okay.
I love how they're using a camera of that
Gosh,
movie.
what a great freeze frame on Valkyrie's face. That was almost her through the whole film.
Yeah.
Color we need?
That performance used to make sense because he would wake up, he'd go, ah! And then that was my reaction. But now I just do it for no reason, which is cool. And that's
It's
You
not
see-
cool. It's bad directing.
She's covering, all right? She, as an artist, you can see that pisses her off. That
Yeah.
she's technically given what looks like a bad performance that makes no sense.
Yeah.
And that's her job in the movie.
And it's also a good example of how the director can actually even make good act. I don't think she's a great actor, but even if you have a good actor, if the directing is bad, it could be
Hayden Christensen,
give an awful performance.
every actor except Ewan McGregor in Star Wars.
It's also an indication of how sometimes someone can make a performance look crazy when it wasn't.
She just
Wow.
literally said exactly what you said.
That is so cope.
What, him or her?
Both for her.
But she said what you just said.
Okay.
She said that's an example of how you can make a performance that isn't crazy look crazy. And he's
We also I want to make it clear.
Okay.
These two are the same height in real life.
In real life, yeah.
In real life. Okay?
Natalie Portman is
she
on a deck.
was on a deck. It's my New Zealand accent. D-E-C.
It-
you seen that skit?
Oh
New
yeah,
Zealand
yeah, with Drew, and he's like, yeah,
You want to see my dick?
you got a great deck.
I even have pictures of my dick. Check out that dick.
was many months of
Natalie
joking.
was on a deck.
They would have to build the
This would be
platform.
Natalie here, and there's a little feet there. And
Yes, we know you had to fake a lot of things with Natalie Portman, like her arms in the film.
there was build a platform.
Which
So just on that, right, there's been like a commentary that if you want, equality in filmmaking and everything, why is there a greater expectation for guys to get nutcase super ripped for these roles and stuff like that? But when a female comes on in this role, we'll just movie magic it.
I think that's because they didn't expect her to do any like topless scenes in this movie. You know, they didn't expose any midriff.
Yeah, if
But
they were
if you
going to
look at-
expose that, they might have wanted her to get more in shape.
Yeah.
She did try work out, and look, this is the reality. It's harder for women to put on muscle than men.
But like, have you seen Homelander? He's
Yeah.
wearing a muscle suit.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was going to say, because there are examples of men just that fake it for men as well. So I'm not sure how valid that criticism is, because they fake it for Homelander, they faked it for Shazam.
You can bet the girls in Game of Thrones did some working out before they had their scenes.
I wouldn't know. Don't have a point of reference.
Well, aren't you just virtuous?
Claudia mentioned off screen, Paul Rudd had some trouble bulking up, but he did get in shape.
If I wanted to bulk up, I'd just look at it. Evangeline Lilly. Never mind.
we called a deck.
We called it a deck, and we were like,
And then they're like-
how big do you want the dick? Where did that come from?
Very funny.
That came
So you know these two are actually in like a relationship.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but not only that, it's a three-way with another woman. Rita, is that her name? Okay, but there's like photos of him making out with her, and it just makes you wonder how certain people got their roles as a result. Just saying, I thought this whole Me Too movement was against that kind of thing, but
Apparently not.
apparently, okay, interesting. Very transactional, it comes, feels like it.
Well, it was transactional until it wasn't.
Do you reckon he's going to get Me Too'd by her later on when they'll break up and then she'll say...
Probably, yeah.
We'll see in the future.
Well, then, if it's color we need, let's bring the rainbow.
They just love making their characters look like morons. Sorry.
Yeah, just imagine when they were filming that, she literally said, well, if it's color, I need to bring the rainbow, and then she just jumped up like that, and it probably would have been the most cringe thing you could ever imagine.
You get Natalie go like this, she walks over and she goes,
And
Yeah.
then everyone's like,
yeah, and he was like, oh, okay.
This interview is starting to get really boring.
Yep.
It's dragging. We'll see if we can even make it to the end. Holy crap.
And your guys.
and then you just put an anywhere in the
Yeah,
movie,
but-
and I look crazy.
And then what happens is you take that footage, you put it in a computer, and you add like little bits of...
First you whip the slaves, and then they edit it.
Because they were lazy.
A lot of the times when you see,
Yeah, this film felt very much more low effort on the CGI effects. It was filmed a lot in, I think it's called the volume, have you heard?
No.
I can see uses for it, but there's also drawbacks where they almost have these projectors on these screens that you step into it, and instead of filming on a green screen, you can actually film them with the background projected there, so you don't
Did it
get
for
the green
Mando.
screen effect. They did it for Mando, and they did it a lot for this one. It seems like they're trying to cut corners. It means you don't have to go to certain set locations or build sets and everything like that.
Yeah, have you seen what they did for what's his name? Sam Jackson in the Spider-Man No Way Home?
No,
You didn't see that? So he shoots Ned with the knockout gun Nick Fury does in Spider-Man's hotel room, and then they showed the shot without any VFX in it. Not only was the background completely green screen, but the gun was literally just the handle with 2 red markers on either end.
You could have given him just a real gun.
Or put him in a real room. But no, Nick Fury, Sam Jackson literally has a green screen out the back of his house in his garage.
Does he?
Just for that stuff, so he can just go in there and do it.
Well, one of the drawbacks of doing it in this volume space is that oftentimes the land is just like, it has to be really flat. And so there's no verticality or complexity to what they're standing on and things. And so just with this, what they're saying is like, we didn't do as much wire work as well. So they're just like, we'll just do it in VFX, but then we don't give the VFX artists enough time, and it's all just going to look crap as a result of this.
Some wires that would go up like this.
And it would look better, probably.
And then
The final result.
big guys on the other side, and that'd be like sort of...
pulling
Yeah, another little... No.
Yeah, obviously. Like, what are they explaining?
I knew it.
How you going there, Oz? This is riveting stuff.
I didn't think I could hate my own country more.
Oz is New Zealand.
Well, I'm Kiwi. I'm half. I'm 3/4 Kiwi.
Experimenting with the story and trying to figure out like the best narrative and...
Oh, no, you didn't let him finish. What the best narrative for selling this crap would be.
new dialogue, and we'd come back and we just wanted like one more angle, just...
Yeah, all right, so they didn't even know what they were trying to do as they were filming, and it's evident as a result. And there's like, we were experimenting with this dialogue, and some of the dialogue is so crap in this. Oh, boy.
Someone explaining, oh, this is what the villain wants, or like, this is what we're going to do.
They didn't even know what the villain's motivations. Oh my goodness! How are you going to have a coherent story at all if that's the way you're making it? Unbelievable.
This is just depressing.
This is again, it's like them saying, yeah, this is why it's crap. They're not really redeeming the film anyway.
Pleasure of getting to make films like this, right? Because when we make films for $2, you just like pray for the best, and you don't have a chance to go in again and
you
get.
Well, fun fact, you made a $2 film for $200 million.
And what they're saying here is like, yeah, when you don't have the luxury to go back in and refilm everything, you might have prepared a bit more beforehand.
Yeah.
Know the story, get the dialogue, the villain motivations before you film.
What was that saying? Preparation is the antidote to chaos.
Avoid having 2 hours of cut footage.
This case, you get to really perfect the thing.
I just find it so funny that they're explaining the process as a means to justify how good it is, yet this is literally an explanation of why it's so bad. And they don't get it.
Some of this dialogue we ended up having to do in reshoots because it was clarifying some stuff around where we were going and the nature of the battle. So
they're utterly unaware that this is just a confession as to why it's so crap. What she's explaining is like, we actually had to come back and reshoot things to get clarification dialogue to make the story work.
Yep. I called it.
So you just had no idea what you were doing.
How do we make exposition snappy and fun?
Because exposition in a film is boring.
Shut up! And you call yourself a filmmaker? What? If the exposition is actually interesting and draws you in and reveals interesting conflicts or explanation, exposition can be some of the most intriguing and immersive parts of film.
Yeah.
You freak, like,
First hour of
I can't believe he's capable of saying that. Also, it could be that he understands that, but he has such little faith and confidence in the audience that he thinks that they're not going to have the attention span of 2 minutes to be able to even pay attention to anything.
I think he's just read the writing rule, don't do exposition, because they say don't do exposition because you're probably a bad writer, and exposition written by a bad writer is boring. But look at the first hour of the Lord of the Rings movie. First one. It
starts with exposition. Look at how Pride and Prejudice begins. Exposition info dump, and it is so well written. It's incredible. Same with A Name of the Wind and stuff. If you're a good writer, exposition can be awesome.
Because I used to say I hate exposition. Then I got some exposition from a decent writer, guy who wrote Wheel of Time, and it was incredible.
Look, is probably half high and also hasn't slept and is not thinking right, because he has made good things in the past.
He's half something.
But it makes you wonder, like, who's been helping him out and all that stuff. But still, that is just flat out bullcrap. Exposition is boring. Shut up. It can be, of course, but come on.
And it's always this, you're like, okay, I guess I'm absorbing information, but if you can do it in a fun way where, like, the characters are all getting to take part, and it's also hard. Like, you've got 4 characters in the scene, and 2 of them are wearing red.
Fun way. His fun way is making characters look like idiots, say stupid things, undermining the tension of any scene with a dumb, crappy joke. Korg was so awful in this film. Oh my goodness.
Capes. One of them's in the Phantom of the Opera sweatshirt.
Sometimes third time's a charm.
Bring the rainbow, is that a catchphrase or something?
She's only been a Thor for a minute. I mean, saving.
I see. When she said these lines right here, I understood none of them, and I didn't understand them either there. When I was watching
I'm wondering, like, this is supposed to be a joke. It's like, isn't it funny that she's got bad catchphrases? That's not a joke. It's cringe, and it's not good cringe anyway. It's just...
But what did she even say? I didn't understand what she said either time I've watched it.
Bring the rainbow, is that a catchphrase?
Sorry, bring around, is that a catchphrase or something?
She's only been a Thor for a minute.
She's only been in Thor for a minute.
Yeah.
So she's trying to say she hasn't been Thor for long and she hasn't developed.
I mean, saving lives she's quite good at, but the rest of it she needs work.
You can understand why someone might not understand any of what she just said. She's been in Thor for a minute. Go get Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, bloody hell.
Saving lives is pretty good, but you can't say that she's still a thing.
She's talking like a sim.
She's kind of talking with the teeth like this, keep your teeth closed.
Get the London look.
So I think I could start to talk like her if I keep my teeth a bit close like this. And she's only been Thor for a minute.
Yeah. A wise person once told me to open my mouth when I talk.
And he's never stopped.
You're one to talk.
I know. Hey, all power to you. Again, like, it is such a useless, pointless thing. Yeah, I think it's funny and humorous, and it just makes this film was boring, legitimately boring, and it's due to just their forcing in attempts at humor, and it's not funny.
This is interesting. So this is Taika performing Korg, but sometimes he's in the suit, the like motion capture suit, whilst directing.
That's right.
And sometimes you wouldn't be there at all, right? So we'd be.
Yeah, but a lot of the time I was. So basically, like, the head, that's all there, and then it was attached to a stick like this, which was attached to my back, and so my head was here.
Yeah.
And so I would be walking around like this, holding on to this thing.
Yeah.
And this thing here was attached on a harness, remember that? And I also had the camera thing on top of my head to record my face.
Yeah, and then he had like dots all over his face so they can record his facial expressions. But the challenge for us is always, for our eye line, we have to be looking at his fake head.
They have to look up here.
As opposed
but also,
to his
obviously,
real head.
my real head here, that's the money maker. And
It's
it's very hard to not look at that.
It is very hard.
And so I had to keep going.
I got a lot better at it this movie, though. Remember Thor Ragnarok? I was hopeless.
Let's just accentuate that.
Yeah.
What he would want.
Yes, exactly.
Slightly bigger.
But those are all real. That's not
all real
that's
stuff.
Not CG. Those muscles.
But Natalie Portman's were.
Shot this scene 3 times over the course of a year. Nature of movie making is sometimes, or continue to write the film.
That's not good.
Is you in post-production.
I know they're like dying as well. I wonder how much this film has changed. It's probably like completely different to the first concept.
They filmed the scene 3 times over the course of a year. I called it with the reshoots, man. I said it in the movie. There's a reason parts of the movie are put in and then they make no sense and don't connect to anything else, is because things were reshot. So
It had to do with the rewrites around just clarifying the logic, right?
And this is the result. The logic in this is utter nonsensical crap. Like, spoilers for the film, you should be aware right? But the concept behind is that there's a wish-granting entity at the center of the universe. And as to when, Kor, the god killer, decides to go for the entity, the name, the voice of eternity is whispered to him when he grabs the sword. So, okay, is the sword going to tell him about this wish granting at the beginning? But no, he kills all the. And then he decides somebody's right now to go after the wish thing. But then when it turns out everyone knew that there was an entity that granted wishes to the first being that went there. Oh, really? Were there a couple of events previous to this that granting a wish might have been helpful?
why the first being? And why grant a wish
How
to
did
them?
people know of it? If it's the first, no one has even gotten there to get the wish to even know that it's a wish thing.
Yeah, but also why? What's the motivation of the
So
entity? that's
Eternity, the
universe?
thing, decided, I am going to grant a wish to the first person that finds me, but to get the, I'll just send an email out to everyone so they know about it.
But why did Eternity come to that conclusion? Like, I will give someone a wish.
Unexplained. It's just utter nonsense bullcrap. We'll just do it for reasons because plot, right?
You know what he did in the comic score?
What?
He made a bomb that would only kill gods, and it was like a universal thing, or galactic thing, or whatever.
He actually worked something, build something to do it.
He built
This
it,
is just
yeah.
random thing exists that breaks canon because Thor's like, oh yes, I know. Oh, so did Zeus or anything. By the way, Zeus would have been threatened by the Infinity Stones as well and Thanos. So there's all that. And then when they find out about Gor's plot, they had the opportunity to just go to the wish thing before him, before Gore gets the Bifrost off. The logic in this is crap, and they're like, oh, yeah, justify the logic.
Of
this what the villain wants.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to tell you what the villain wants.
Because you barely knew it all either, and then
Go see the movie.
I mean, saving lives she's quite good at, but the rest of it she needs work.
How many catchphrases
Wait a
have there
minute.
been?
Saving lives, she's quite good at. She had one battle the night before this scene.
good point. The context is that she's fought other people, but who and where?
She fought the monsters that the children
I
fought.
know that, but they're trying to kind of implying that she did.
Literally
more.
children who were between the ages of 10 and 5
And
fought
and
monsters.
literally, when people are fighting and dying, and they'll just pause for funny moments, and these things like the building will fall down while they're doing nothing and stuff. And then after the children gets kidnapped, won't act with any true urgency or worry about the children.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yep. Jump the gun.
Hang on, he moves through shadows and he's going to the shadow realm. It seems like that's where he's going to be the most powerful.
You're right, we can't just go marching in there. It could be a trap.
Are you thinking
Exposition is boring. When you write it, you retard.
We just can't go marching in there. It could be a trap, right? Thor, you have a Bifrost teleportation device with very specific, accuracy. Thor gets to pick. I will land, in the middle of these people here or there. Mm-hmm. You know where it is. It's in the Shadow Realm. Why can't you just teleport right to the children, grab them, teleport back? Problem solved. There's no reason the mechanic's given why he can't. Why he has to teleport so far away and then find the children and everything like that. And then they decide to make some arbitrary, stupid reason that suddenly the Bifrost on Stormbreaker is janky because Stormbreaker is jealous of the other. It's crap. And look, I actually kind of chuckled out of the Stormbreaker thing, but
They did it 3 times.
to push it to the point where it's integral to the plot now, arbitrarily, because it's not an issue. They could have just teleported there. And it's like, oh, we'll need an army, will we? Yeah, it's like, I need an army. I wonder if Thor's able of making armies.
Yep. With anyone. Why don't he just get a bunch of armed forces or something like that?
There's a lot of parents there who would be willing to risk their lives to save their children.
what I think you're thinking?
I'm thinking it.
What are we thinking?
Thinking
I'm
what?
thinking it too.
Omnipotent city.
It's like, it's been a city of other gods there the whole time that Thor just knew of.
Why didn't the people of Asgard go there when the planet was blown up.
Exactly. Why didn't Thor just say, like, we're trying to beat Thanos? You know, Thanos is almost this godlike being. Who can we how to fight him? And Thor's like, there is this city of godlike beings, but I just won't mention anything.
If there's a city of godlike beings that Gore wants to kill all gods, surely he should start there.
Yeah, they say that no one knows how to get there apart from gods or something.
But Thor did.
He knew he is established in the sea that
Valkyrie
they just
knows.
Thor and Valkyrie knew that there was a omnipotent city and knew how to get there. And it's like they don't care about canon at all.
And Gore seems to be able to teleport anywhere in the cosmos that he needs to.
Yeah, just through shadows.
Surely there's shadows in omnipotent city.
You'd think
they could solve that by making it just a city of pure light where there's no shadows.
If Gore was actually trying to, do his job, defeat the gods, he's already killed a number of gods before. I wonder if he would ask, do you know where any other gods are? Let's do some hokey torture just to make sure.
So Christian Bale's going to grab them and be like, where are they? He moves in shadows too.
Oh my goodness!
Do you think this is true, which I've always heard, that comedy comes in threes?
Oh.
Is that a true
That is
thing?
true.
Because it feels like it is. Because I go, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm thinking what I'm thinking. And then she does the Zeus.
Yeah, but
Zeus?
I don't know.
Or maybe it's second name.
It's like,
No, comedy, you can tell the same joke thrice because the final time usually hits the hardest. But the rule of three for jokes isn't like you say, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing that. No. You say a joke once, then maybe a few minutes later you can say it again, and the third time usually has to be the funniest version of the joke, and then it hits. It's like then it's an temporary inside joke. But you don't do it that's not how it works.
Yeah, it's a misapplication of what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
you think what I'm thinking? I'm thinking. I'm thinking. What are we thinking? I'm thinking.
That's what we just do to every scene, right?
Remember that?
Funnier. You think what I'm thinking? I'm thinking what you're thinking. You think no? What are you talking about? Something like that, like misunderstanding.
Yeah, all the subversion. You think what I'm thinking? I totally am. We should definitely go kill those babies over there. It's like, I wasn't thinking that. It's like, oh, okay.
You think what I'm thinking? Yeah. Don't think about my sister like that.
You bastard.
You perv. Anyway.
But hang on, if I was thinking about your sister, that means you were thinking about your sister.
That's the joke.
Yeah.
That's why. Yes.
Yes.
I've got a trophy here for you, actually. For anyone who understands that joke.
I got it. Our chemistry's so much better than this.
Yeah. Me and you make a better couple than these two. You, me, and Nathan make a better throuple than
That
these
makes
three.
me awkward.
What? Shad, you don't need to imagine us being in any sort of sexual romantic relationship. Why would you imagine something like that? Why are you gagging while I talk about a gay relationship, Shad?
The expression. My expression.
Quirky and funny.
Looks like.
How many of those things did you do in post? Did you just do a whole run of the film where they just left the mic open and you're just
Yep. I redid all of it. This goat ram's head. This guy here.
Yeah.
That's it's a ram. It's a male sheep.
Cool.
So Thor underneath, you don't often see. If you see the film, Thor gets stripped down. You see his bare chest, and you'll see as all his guardians. If you've done your research, all his guardians have 6 nipples, and they just go down there like that, and that's how they feed their young. Men usually do it. They just lie on the side, and all the little as guardian, like piglets. They come up, and just suckle. I mean, that's a spoiler. No one has known that about Vikings. And,
How much he cares for Norse mythology.
He's being funny.
Also, I'd like to clarify something, right? In the thing, I said that Thor was the worker god, like he was a carpentry blacksmith god, and everyone's like, no, there's nothing in Norse mythology that says that. Actually, there is. In Norse mythology, he's the god that is known as building the largest hall, his own. He built it. You'd have to be pretty qualified to build the largest hall in Viking mythology.
But he's not known as having carpentry as part of his pantheon of.
But he built the largest hall in Norse mythology. The halls of Valhalla, he built the largest himself.
So he has built things.
He's built the largest structure in Norse
I wouldn't
mythology.
know. It's not something I've cared to do.
If I was
research
talking,
on.
okay, well, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
so they cover them up. So each one of those unscrews.
Yet they'll poke fun at Jesus. Oh, look, the god of carpentry. Yet he hasn't built anything of in his history. He didn't build anything of noteworthiness apart from a church.
Who are you talking about now?
Jesus. He never. There's nothing.
He was a carpenter.
He was, but there's nothing in the Bible that says he built this impressive structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so why are they saying he's the god of carpentry? You see what I mean? If anyone's the god of carpentry, it's the guy who built the biggest hall in his entire thing.
Okay, so that is Oz's argument. You can debate him in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unscrew it and you can like just milk it.
Yes, we get
This was a hard one, though.
This was a hard one. The tricky thing around this movie is that the movie is actually doing a lot of things, and I think
that's one way to put it. Movie does lots of things
and fails at them all.
Mm-hmm.
Taika's strength has always been, if you look at his filmography in general, is to be able to hold a lot of kind of tones inside of the movie.
Multiple tones? What multiple tones? This was just like a clown fest. They could take nothing seriously. There was barely any true somber tone, except maybe at the very end where someone dies.
Even then, it was completely undercut.
There were times where there should have been far more serious tones, like when it's revealed someone has cancer, when the children are kidnapped, when one of your close friends is possibly dying, and they play it all off as jokes, like nothing matters. It's utter crap, and they don't care in the film, so therefore I don't care. Not invested. Boring crap.
He demonstrated his utter contempt for the source material of Viking and mythology, and also the Marvel comics, because in the first one there was a lot of in Ragnarok, a lot of reshoots too. You know when they found Odin, he was a homeless dude in a back alley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like again, they're just completely deriding, just destroy. Anyway,
and have it feel cohesive, but I think this one in particular really asked that. There was like a lot to balance, I think, in terms of like the
Yeah, this feels like Cope. She was like, no, we know the tone's bad, but there was so much to balance, more than other films.
She literally called the film a balancing act.
comedy, the love aspect, the sort of overall. Yeah, it was in some.
Give her a high five. Do you see that? You can see the frustration. You can see him getting uncomfortable.
He's like, shut up.
But look at his body language, right? And this is what I'm talking about. You can read things from people without them having to say it. Look at how uncomfortable he gets.
In terms of like the comedy,
literally
the love
up.
aspect.
See what I mean?
The sort of
he looks
overall.
like he's Darth Vader.
Yeah, look, it's a possible interpretation, but there are multiple ways to interpret.
How would you interpret it?
I'm not saying he isn't feeling awkward. It seems like he might be, but I know that I've misinterpreted people's, moods and behaviors. So.
Yeah, it was in some ways a more ambitious.
Oh, there's a sideways glance.
Movie than Ragnarok, even though Ragnarok was so sprawling and it was a lot to sort of take over and reimagine.
Now it's more awkward vibes.
He's
like, quiet, what are you doing?
Franchise, but this one was also the thing of like, how do you make a second installment of this that feels as exciting? But also, he's like trying to make a romantic comedy,
weird Mills and Boone melodramatic romance
inside of also a superhero movie where there are stakes
with like real human problems.
Yeah,
you don't address the real human problems at all. Thor's actual problems, it's just this bullcrap. I don't know how to find purpose in my life. Jane dies, and now I'm thrust with this child. The only thing that I like to remember though is that he finds purpose in fatherhood, which is a good enough
single fatherhood. But there was one of his real human problems he inserted into the movie. His axe was jealous of his hammer. Coming from the guy with two women. Can't serve two masters.
It's on his mind a lot, apparently.
It's a new villain, and he has pathos, and so it was challenging. So I think
we were all in it.
We were all
in it together.
So you all share blame?
That was garbled nonsense. What on earth were they trying to say there? There was a lot of things trying to balance, a lot of tones, love story, but it was challenging, and we're all in it together. What?
That thought process might have carried over to the thing.
Oh my goodness!
Just it being garbled mess.
Gives you some bits of insight into the approach to this film. So takeaway. Thor still sucks, and this is the cope. They know it's bad. The MCU is just getting worse and worse.
Well, they insulted as many gods as they possibly could, so I can tell you where they're going to go in the future.
Oh, they had the teaser of Hercules in this, but that's like I care. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and as always, stay on watch.